Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's Daryl here. It's not so bright and early anymore. It's 7 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, first off, let me apologize for the way I'm dressed. Let me fill you in. I just got back from a 4-mile walk and I got an idea for a video. And like I've told you guys, my best time for thinking is when I'm moving, the blood flowing to my brain. And I got the idea for this video, and I am so ridiculously busy this morning that I wanted to do the video right now before I move on to the next part of my day, and I just don't have the time to get myself braided up for you guys. So I apologize for the way I'm dressed. I talked about this yesterday, how I don't like wearing tank tops in these videos. I think it hurts the views. Okay, I want to talk about a video that Steve-O made in response to Bam Margera's rap video. I did a video yesterday talking about Bam Margera and the video he did dissing Johnny Knoxville, Steve-O, and Wee Man, kind of blaming them for putting down their skateboarding. And I guess this is a real insult for these guys, putting down like Steve-O's talent on the skateboard, and blaming Johnny Knoxville for ruining his career, his skateboarding career. So today, there's a link down below. Steve-O hit back with a video. What do you call it? Slap back. I forgot how, but anyway, he came back with a video, and I want to talk about that this morning. And I want to talk about how I used to look, because I don't think he looks that. Steve-O doesn't look that great. You know, he's clean and sober and everything. He doesn't look that great in this video. I think he's at least 10 years younger than me, and he reminds me of what I used to look like when I first got clean. I had no teeth at all, and I cut my own hair for 2 decades. I had all burns in my clothes from nodding out with cigarettes. I weighed almost 300 pounds, so I was a considerably different looking person. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Bam Margera a little more, and resentment. And I thought about my peers now, how I see my peers on Facebook, and the choice I make not to be resentful, because they are so much further ahead in life than I am right now because of me wasting 2.5 decades. I want to talk about that. Here's the best part of the video. For those of you that are my age, I'm going to talk about the biggest wipeout I ever took on a skateboard when I was 14 years old. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the skateboards we had back then, if you could call them skateboards. All right, so let me start here at the beginning. Also, I get concerned when I talk about this, the stuff I'm going to talk about today. I get concerned that people might look at me as self-centered or arrogant, talking about myself and stuff like that. I've told you guys before, the reason I do this is because I remember how I felt back during addiction. I've been clean since October 23rd of 2006. And I was a hardcore heroin and crack cocaine user, everything, for 2.5 decades, since I was 40 years old. And I remember the feeling I had of no hope. You know, I had been in and out of rehabs and detoxes 13 times, and it's a terrible feeling to just have I had no hope, you know, and I was just living a nightmare every day, and I had lost any hope of getting back to normal, getting clean. And that's the purpose of me doing this video, talking about this stuff. If somebody sees this and they see that it's possible, recovery is possible, not only possible, but it's a fantastic freaking way of life. It's better, it's the best life I never imagined. That's the purpose of me talking about this stuff. Okay, Steve-O and his video. My opinion is he's considering how kind of vicious Bam was, how rude, crude. I think Steve-O was kind of nice. He didn't hit back that hard. He talked about how he believes Bam's probably resentful. Steve-O held up the clip's right down below, so you could watch it yourselves. He holds up his skateboards because he signs his autographed skateboards. He says Bam's probably jealous of this, resentful of me, you know, him doing that. And Steve-O took it was a real insult for Bam to say that his skateboarding sucks. So he shows himself skateboarding. And I never really watched Jackass. These guys are kind of new to me. And he's got some crazy skills. He's probably 10 years younger than me. I'm 50. So I'm going to be 58 next January. It was a whole different skateboarding. I'll get to that more in a second. I don't want to get ahead of myself. But you can watch him skateboard down below. And he's skateboarding with Tony Hawk. And Tony Hawk says, even I know who Tony Hawk is. And Tony Hawk is impressed, with the two of them are skateboarding together. So that's, it's kind of I would call it tongue-in-the-cheek response to Bam Margera's crude video. But, he makes his point, okay? Let me move on now to Bam. Like how Steve-O said that he's probably resentful of Steve-O selling the skateboards, his business prospects, his comedy tour, and all that. And I thought a little bit I talked about this yesterday, how I know that anger and resentment, I feel bad for Bam, because anger and resentment are such negative emotions, they eat you up inside. Now, I believe when you put out emotions like that, when you give off like he does in this video, you that's what you attract back into your life. And it's a terrible feeling. It's a hopeless feeling. I thought about all the people that I graduated with, specifically the guys I graduated with, and where they are now. I see them on Facebook, and they own, like $500,000 houses here in Connecticut or around the country. Seriously, vacation homes, they have kids, they have wives. I'm sure their lives, everybody wants to show their lives as perfect on Facebook, but they're a lot farther than I am. I'm unmarried, I have no kids. I'm basically putting my life back together. Putting my credit back together. Just rebuild. I am now at 57 where I should have been, where they were back when they were 27. I'm late to the party. It reminds me of a Pink Floyd, Run, Rabbit, Run, Dig a Hole, Forget the Sun. That song, it reminds me, when at last the work is done, don't sit down, it's time to dig another one. Long you live and high you fly, smiles will give and tears will cry, all you touch. It's like he's getting off to a late start, and I've always felt that's how my life is. And I have a choice. I could be resentful of these guys, but it will eat you up. And as soon as I made the choice to own up, my choices were my fault, and where I am now is my choice was a series of choices I made. And the best thing I can do, I think about all the time and energy. If there's any addicts watching this, you'll agree with me. The time and energy addicts expand on getting money, getting drugs, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I remember walking 5 miles in 2 feet of snow in a blizzard, the stuff we would do every single day, that amount of energy. And I thought if I could take that energy, that drive, and use it for good, like in my exercising, my painting, this YouTube channel, trying to bring hope to other addicts, try to improve, try to take the mess I made in my life, learn from it, and use what I can to rebuild my life. And once I made the decision to do that, it's such a load off. It's such the feeling is indescribable. The relief and the I don't know if I want to say the pride in yourself comes back. Once you own up to what how you screwed up, the choices you made, and the best thing is where to go from here. And I know there's so much more. I know I'm forgetting something. There's so much I wanted to say in this video. Okay, now, the worst wipeout I ever had. The skateboards we had, I've always been into independent, like one-man sports. I was never a team player. Yeah, I know that's not a good thing. I didn't like football, I didn't like baseball. I was not a team player. I like skiing, I like skateboarding, surfing. These are all things I've done, mountain biking, swimming. I was very good at swimming, racing. I was overweight, and I don't know if it was the buoyancy back then, but I was really good at swimming. The only team I was on in high school was the ski team and the ski club. I broke my leg skiing the first year, fibula, 4 months in a cast. I was always a risk taker, and I think that's somehow tied into me ending up using some of the most dangerous drugs, the most addictive drugs, that stupid idea that I could the adrenaline of messing with something I know that could kill me. And I to this day, unfortunately, I still have a little bit of that in me with the way I mountain bike today. But anyway, the skateboarding of 1982, okay? I believe in California. I was here in Connecticut. Back then, they were just getting into the pool skateboarding. They were going to. There was no pre-made ones just specifically for skateboarding. They would go to empty abandoned houses and go into the pools. And out there, I believe they had the bigger wooden skateboards. Here in Connecticut, all there was these little fiberglass. They were literally about this wide, like kiddie skateboards, like this wide, and about not even 2 feet long. Little fiberglass skateboard, and it had the trucks and the rubber tires, and most of the skateboarding here was downhill. And in California, I remember seeing like slalom going downhill, and that's kind of how it started out, I believe, in California, and downhill here too. Okay. So me and my friend one day were bragging that we're going to go down one of the biggest hills in our town. It's called Sylvan Lake Road in Watertown, Connecticut. I'm going to see if I can get a Google Earth shot of what I'm talking about. And it consists of 3 hills, each one a small one leading into a bigger one, and then into a huge one at the bottom. And we were bragging that we could go from the very top down the first one, down the second one, and down the biggest one without stopping on a skateboard. It's probably at least a half mile of just downhill, bigger and bigger and bigger hills. And we're 14 years old and we're bragging how we're going to do this. And I go down first, and I make it down the first hill. I'm trying to slow myself down by slaloming, going like you do with skiing. And I get to the second hill, and then I get to the third without stopping. I get to the third hill, and I'll try to Google Earth. I'll try to use this on my thumbnail, a picture of this hill. And it's long and steep. It's a good, I'd say at least a football field, maybe 400 or 500 feet, and it's an incredibly steep incline. And I'm already doing, I don't know how many miles an hour, probably 30 miles an hour. And I hit the big hill, and I get to a point where the board is just going. My feet are getting numb because the board is just vibrating. And at that point you can't slow down or stop, and I'm getting right to the bottom to making it, and the board is just shaking, and my legs are actually going numb, and then it just starts going going in and out, side to side, and I go up in the air, my feet are, and I try to hit the ground running, and I come down, and as soon as my feet hit that pavement, I just did a couple backflips, spun, and then I landed on this side right here. And I slid down the pavement. Honestly, my shoes got knocked off. My sneakers got knocked off. I probably slid for a good 30 feet. And I laid there thinking I was dead. I remember we have sirens, air raid sirens, all around town. And whenever there's a fire or an emergency, they go off. And I remember laying on the pavement and hearing all the alarms in town going off. And I know they're for me. A car comes along, and he's coming the other way, up the hill. I'm laying in the road, shoes knocked off, bleeding, road burns, and he actually swears at me, honks the horn because I'm in the road, and drives around me and drives up the road. I have no idea. I wish I knew who that person was to this day. I still have no idea. The ambulance came and picked me up, and it's funny, the cop that showed up. I hit a car on my bike later. I got into several more accidents. My poor mother was in and out of the emergency room probably a half dozen times every year after year when I was 13, 14, or 15. But I survived. But I'll never forget that feeling of the skateboard just vibrating. And I was probably doing about 40 to 50 miles an hour at that point. I had to be. And the board was just going back, and just hitting the ground as soon as my sneakers hit the ground. It was just poof, and sliding, skin on pavement. Not a good feeling. I still have a road burn. I still have dark. I don't know if you can see it there. I still have a dark. Yeah, I think you can see it right there, where the road rash. So, if you remember these boards, or you have a story, why don't you comment down below? All right. Recovery is possible. Have a good Tuesday.